Hi guys, welcome back to the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie, and I'm so happy that you're here today with me, and I'm so happy that you're alive and on this earth. So actually, I'm really disappointed in myself right now because where the F did I put my iced coffee? Because I wanted to show you guys. Okay, I'm back. This is my second 7-Eleven iced coffee today, okay? Not iced coffee, iced latte. So we ran out of beans, so that's why I don't have my homemade iced coffee, which I would usually have, but guys, when I tell you, I don't know why, but I love the 7-Eleven lattes so much. They have like a machine, and it's like an electric machine, and you can do hot or iced lattes, and they have so many options. So like they have, what do they have? They have this really yummy one that sounded really yummy, but I fear that my fear of calories was holding me back from getting it. You know, sometimes when I can't be like in control of the amount of stuff that I'm putting in, I start to freak out a little bit, which I'm working on, okay? I'm working on it. But if I can't tell it, like, put this many pumps of sugar or whatever, or sugar-free syrup, whatever, then I get freaked out and I kind of panic. So I didn't get that one because I didn't want to be stressed out while I was drinking it. So I got an iced cafe latte, and I got a little bit of hazelnut in it. It's not too sweet, but it's really good. Like, it's obviously not like coffee connoisseur, like, oh my gosh, it's the most amazing coffee ever, but for a $2 coffee at a gas station, I would say that I would give this a good 8.5 out of 10, maybe even an 8.6. It's just good. I honestly, I love it, and 7-Eleven, please sponsor me. Imagine if 7-Eleven sponsored me. That would be crazy. I live so close, 0.5 miles away from the 7-Eleven, and so I go there all the time, but I also got Starburst. I ate like half of the thing. I was just craving it because I had my hard workout class this morning, and you guys know the hard workout class. It's hard, okay? It's so intense, and not only that, but it's like 85 degrees in that room, so I was like, whew, dying. And then afterwards, I always feel so tired, and I feel so depleted of nutrients as I'm saying that I got Starburst. It's like, come on, that's no nutrients are in there. But I ate like a good amount, okay? So I ate some black beans and rice and bacon after my workout. So I think I deserved a little sweet treat. But before I went to my workout class, I stopped at 7-Eleven because usually I would have my coffee here. But the last two times I hadn't gotten up early enough to make my coffee. So I went to hot yoga and the Sculpt and Flow one without coffee, and let me tell you, that was the hardest workout to get through in the world. Those two classes, I felt dead. I don't know what it is, but coffee just, obviously it's like the caffeine and it gives me energy, but it's just, all in all, my body felt so much tighter when I wasn't drinking coffee. It barely felt like I could stretch as far as I can usually stretch or do as much as I can usually do. So I got a small one this morning, and then I was like, wait, this is so good. I gotta get a large one after, but I do need to refill up on some beans because we gotta get this coffee machine going, you know. I got a fall candle and some like fall cups today because I just feel like my whole living room is literally orange. I have an orange couch and orange curtains and green rug with orange and cream and all these different colors in it. So it's already giving Halloween and fall, but I just love the fall vibes, and I've been seeing all these TikToks, guys. Seriously, if you're on like fall talk, it makes me nauseous because why don't I live in, where do they live? Maine or something? Up north, I don't know. Anywhere up north, seriously, in New England, I need to live there someday. I love New England so much. I feel like everywhere there is just so pretty and so Gilmore Girls coded. And it just gives everything. So those, also like Oregon, I feel like, but I don't know. It's really stressful that I live in South Florida, especially because I do love it when it rains. Honestly, I do love a good rain session. But if it's gonna just be super cloudy and super gray and super dark and gross outside and it's not gonna rain and pour, I don't want it. So either be sunny or rain and pour, because I can't take the gloominess, the depression. I feel like I live in England right now, and I don't live in England. You know what's funny is when I was younger, I always thought my dream, because I lived in Iowa, okay? So obviously, like, I'm grateful to live somewhere beautiful, because no offense, Iowa just isn't beautiful. Okay, sorry. But when I was little, I grew up wanting to live in Florida so bad, because we would go on vacation. My dad had a condo in Central Florida around the Orlando area. We still have that condo, but it's obviously, like, I don't go there anymore because I literally live here and I live in South Florida, which is better than the location that the condo's at. But when I was growing up, I always thought I wanted to live in Florida so bad. I just dreamed of living in Florida, going to school in Florida. So obviously that's what I did. I went to college in Florida, and then I've lived here ever since. But as I've gotten older, I change, obviously, like everyone changes. And I've just not I don't love South Florida anymore as much as I did. And I did realize pretty quickly to moving here that it's definitely a different vibe when you're not just on vacation for a couple weeks and doing whatever you want and going to the beach and not having to worry about going to a job or working or making money or anything. It's definitely a different vibe when you like actually have to live here and be a person. So I always have to keep that in mind when I go on vacation to places, because I will romanticize the fuck out of it, and I'll be thinking about how much I want to just live there so bad because of the vacation. But then you have to think about, what would life actually be like if you were actually living there? Would you like it, or do you just like it because you are on vacation at this place and you don't have to really worry about anything? So those are my thoughts of the day and my updates. Yeah, we're gonna get into this episode because I just realized that we have another update to the husband fathering best friend's children story. I'm a little bit nervous, so I think this would be update 5. I'm gonna actually look because I don't want to skip an update. This obviously came up on my For You, whatever you call it, my feed on Reddit, and the last update, I believe, was update 4. We read that one. So now we're reading a brief update, which would be considered update 5, but she didn't put update 5. I think she's giving up a little because she did a really short title for this too. Ready? Okay. Update 5. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Are you ready for this? I have no idea what's going to happen, so we're in for a treat, or maybe we're not. It's pretty short though. Compared to her other ones, it's pretty short. Hey guys, it's been a rough week. A lot has happened. I don't really want to talk about all of it in detail, so I'm going to keep this short. I know I never shut up, it's just how I am, but I'm going to be much more brief this go around. Luke has a lawyer now. I don't know him, but he met with Zach and Paige. To everyone saying I should have Amy arrested, I probably could have if I had shown the police the video. Instead, I just sent it to my lawyer. Maybe this makes me foolish, but even now, I think part of me is still trying to protect people I once loved and go easy on them. But everything's been on hold for the past few days because Jim had a heart attack. I saw Luke and I saw Amy and Amy's kids at the funeral. It was the first time we were all together since before all this happened. Nobody talked about what's going on, short of Amy briefly apologizing for what happened before. She did seem sincere, I'll give her that. But I wasn't about to call her out anyway. Amy, Luke, and Kat all seemed pretty devastated. I was too, but we all agreed not to argue or talk about the divorce and just let the day be a ceasefire to focus on Jim. Luke and I had a nice conversation about him. I've been spending time with my kids and taking a couple of days off of work. I have enough of them on the back burner. Luke also saw the kids twice before and after the funeral, with me present. It went well. At my direction and Sophie's, they didn't mention Amy, and Luke didn't try anything funny with any of them. I think he does miss them and hate that he can't see them thanks to all of this. The kids are also pretty upset about losing Grandpa, on top of not being able to see Dad as much as before. I don't think any of them blame me, but that's far from the point, frankly. Carter slept in my bed the last 3 nights. I'll get more into this in the future when I have energy to talk about what's going on in more detail, but whoever suggested that Kat lied to me about the test results was correct. She never sent them in. She confessed as much to me. I guess she didn't feel comfortable going behind her son's back, but did feel comfortable lying to me to protect him until she didn't, until she felt guilty and she came clean. Under the circumstances, I am not angry with her, but I know better than to trust her anymore. As far as I know, she did not tell Luke about the test, but it means Tom could still be Luke's son, and probably is. My lawyers finished going through Luke and Amy's letters with a finer tooth comb. The bottom line is they definitely found what it was that Amy didn't want me to see, and I now completely understand why she was so panicked. It has to do with why Amy and Luke didn't marry conventionally. They did something very bad, but this is genuinely something that I'm not sure I should be talking about, even on an anonymous internet post. I haven't even been able to collect my feelings about what Amy and Luke have done, especially with everything else going on, so I don't know if I should be more explicit. I'm sorry, I know that's not what anyone wanted to hear, but please try to understand. Paige agreed with me that when in doubt, don't post it. I've told my lawyers to put a pin in it for now because I'm in no fit state to figure out how to proceed with it or if I should use it against them. I'm just feeling like shit, honestly. It's difficult not to blame myself for Jim. I can only imagine Luke and Amy are blaming themselves too. I know they're bad people. I don't forgive them. But this tore them apart as it did me, and I think all three of us feel like the divorce stressed Jim out to the point where it may have contributed. He already had heart disease, and in particular, I blame myself for showing him what I showed him. I showed him proof of the affair shortly before he died. I'll be carrying that with me for a long time, even if I shouldn't. I'll update whenever I do. I'm sorry, I'll respond to comments as I can. Okay, well, that's interesting. Jim had a heart attack? Dare I say he had a heart attack because he's the father? Why would Kat be the one to withhold that unless she knew that they were... I feel like this girl is kind of being silly and ignoring, being blind to the whole situation here. Because Kat wanted to know if Luke was the father of Amy's children. So unless Kat knows for sure, and maybe Luke told her, or Jim told her that actually, hey, I'm actually the father, so can you please not, go through with the tests, then I'm not sure. I feel like she needs to think about this a little more deep because, I can understand how you'd be a little stressed if your kid was getting divorced, but that stress that you're going to have a heart attack, I feel as if there's something deeper to the story. Okay, let's look at some of the comments, though. Struggling to think of bad things a couple can do to prevent a conventional marriage. I've seen some posts of people guessing they're half-siblings. That's the only thing I can think of. After this post, I'm guessing they are half-siblings as well. Maybe mother-in-law and father-in-law knew about it too, or maybe just father-in-law knew about it because mother-in-law had her suspicions as well, but father-in-law was sort of in denial. Would explain why mother-in-law didn't send in the DNA test. If her son wasn't the father, they'd still show up as related, just at a lower percentage. Also explains why mother-in-law and father-in-law helped Amy financially, and why Luke and Amy never intended to stop incest between the kids. True. This whole situation, if it is what we all suspect, is going to be so awful for all of the kids. I don't know how you ever recover from this. My heart goes out to them, and definitely to OP. What's crazy is that we're reading this as it's happening, and it's not like a story from like a couple months ago or something. She's legit posting as it's happening, and that's the craziest thing. We're seeing this all go down in real time, live on television. I'm guessing the mother-in-law didn't know about it. I remember OP mentioning in an earlier post that mother-in-law had her suspicions about Luke and Amy as well, while father-in-law didn't really accept the fact that something might be going on. Mother-in-law not sending in DNA might really be what OP stated, didn't want to do things behind her son's back. Oh shit, it also explains why they have been in such close contact since they were 7. Did Jim discover them fucking around, tell them they were half-siblings, so they swore they stopped, which is why he was so sure they couldn't be having an affair, adamant that they would never, which then would explain why he could have a heart attack when finding out they fathered those children together. Oof. If Amy is Jim's affair child and they knowingly had kids, that's pretty bad. It would explain why Jim took it so bad and why Amy was so desperate to keep secrets and why they couldn't marry each other, so they had to drag an innocent victim into their game. I feel it's all adding up. I feel like the reason that... I don't think this girl knows. She needs to figure out some more stuff. It's really unfolding. Someone said, I'm guessing some kind of fraud or financial crime that would be either become void or get them in trouble if they became legal spouses. But I can't think of that. I can't think of what. Changing my answer to Amy being Jim's own affair baby for maximum drama. I don't know. It could be. It really could be. And then Luke's just following in his footsteps and having other affair children. That would be crazy. The only reason at all I can think of a reason why people couldn't get married is because they're related. But how would they know that they're related? What do you have? Do you have to go through a DNA test when you get married? How does that work? Genuinely, how does that work with if actual siblings really wanted to get married? How would that work? Because you don't do a DNA test to get married, right? I don't know. Someone let me know. Because if two siblings didn't have the same last names and they didn't know that they were siblings or something, and then they met each other, fell in love, wanted to get married, could they just get married, or would something stop them? Please let me know. I need to know. Okay, now it's pouring. Slay. We love it. Next story. My wife is demanding I take a paternity test for her friend's baby. I'm honestly at a complete loss right now, and I just need to vent. My wife, 31 female, and I, 33 male, have been married for 5 years. We have no children, and up until a few weeks ago, I thought everything between us was solid until she blindsided me. She has a friend, Jazz, 30 female, who she sees a few times a month. Jazz recently gave birth to a baby boy, and out of nowhere, about 3 weeks ago, my wife told me to take a paternity test to prove that I'm not the father of Jazz's child. I honestly thought that she was joking. I laughed, expecting her to laugh too, but the seriousness in her eyes made my stomach drop. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I've never felt so disheartened and disrespected in my life. For context, I met Jazz almost a year ago at a family gathering. I've never been alone with her, never had any sort of relationship or inappropriate interaction with her. I don't even know her that well. And the only resemblance I have with the kid is his nose and my nose. Isn't that uncommon? I've never cheated on my wife, never even thought about it. I don't look at other women, let alone give them any attention. I've always been loyal and transparent. I even gave my wife access to my phone to show her I haven't been in contact with Jazz or anyone else inappropriately. She found nothing and still insists that I take the test, even threatening to divorce me if I don't. I told her I wouldn't take the test because I've done nothing wrong. I've given her no reason to doubt me. But she's still pushing for it and honestly don't understand why. It feels like no matter what I say or do, she just doesn't trust me anymore. The fact that she's questioning my loyalty and accusing me of something so serious has completely changed how I see her and our marriage. Since she brought it up, she's been cold towards me. It feels like she's already made up her mind and nothing I say matters anymore. The only time she talks to me is if it's about the DNA test. I haven't slept properly since this started. I lie awake at night wondering where things went wrong. The thought that she believes I'm capable of cheating is eating me alive, and the whole thing is just so odd. Me and Jazz have barely exchanged words. The only time we ever talk is to say hello and goodbye when she picks my wife up at our house and drops her off. I can't understand how my wife could think that I'd have an affair. Some family members said that I should just take the test to give it over with. But for me, it's about more than just that. It feels like my wife is questioning my entire character and everything we've built together. By taking the test, it feels like I'm admitting that I'm a cheater, and I can't do that. I haven't done anything wrong, and taking the test feels like I'm betraying myself and my integrity. I'm stuck. Do I just take the test to calm her down, even though it feels like I'm betraying my integrity, or do I refuse and risk losing my wife? I honestly don't know what to do. Initially, I thought she was cheating and just projecting, but she isn't. We have an open phone policy, and I've looked through her phone and Google location, which has never been switched off, and I found nothing. She works from home, and she doesn't leave the house a lot except to go out with Jazz. We have cameras by our house and went back far to see if any man came to our house, and there was nothing. She always says where she's going, and her Google location backs it up, and it's not like she's going to clubs. First of all, swallow your damn pride and take the motherfucking test, because the fact that you're refusing to take it makes you look very guilty. So I'm just going to say that. Even if you are like saying, well, it's against what I believe, I'm not a cheater, it's questioning my integrity, blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but if you're actually risking losing your wife over your pride, just take the fucking test. I understand being upset that someone can't trust you. And obviously it's very weird because where did she come up with this scenario? But let me tell you, I am an extremely paranoid person. And sometimes I make things up in my head. I don't know if it's some type of, I always diagnose myself with different mental illnesses, but I don't know if it's some type of like OCD or something that puts these intrusive thoughts into my mind, but I will have the craziest intrusive thoughts in my life. Even if my boyfriend just leaves the house, or he's like 30 minutes after work, stays for 30 minutes longer or something, I'll have the craziest intrusive thoughts in the world. And it's not just, oh, he's cheating. It's like, oh, maybe he's gay and he's going to hook up with a bunch of guys. Don't ask me why, okay? I don't know why. I just think random things come up in my head, and I'm being vulnerable by sharing a thought like that with you, because if my boyfriend was cheating on me and I didn't know he was gay, that would definitely come as a shock. But I never think in my head, I'm like thinking that my boyfriend's gay. I never think that ever. But stuff like that just comes up in my head for no reason. And crazier things have come up before. But it will spin this whole story. And that's just the premise of it. It will get even crazier. I'll take that story, and I don't even try this. It just subconsciously happens in my brain. And it'll be like this and this and this and this. And it adds on to that story. And then it's like, oh my God, shut the fuck up, girl. He just went to the store down the street. Calm down. And it's not because I'm like insecure that he's cheating on me or anything. It's just, I genuinely think it's something to do with my mental just always has random intrusive thoughts like this. So obviously I'm not saying that what she's doing is okay, but I can honestly see where she's coming from, because I make shit up in my head all the time. So I could see myself doing this, and not that that's okay. I definitely would be in the wrong, because if he's given you no reason to believe that, then that's definitely really crazy. But I don't know. I would love to know a little bit more background, honestly, because obviously we don't see the wife's point of view here. So there's two sides to every story, and we aren't only getting his side. So maybe he's saying, I'm not unfaithful, blah, 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 blah. But he could just be saying that. I don't know, guys. Maybe that's an unpopular take, but okay, some of the comments. What does Jazz say about all this? Surely you can't just roll up for a paternity test on someone else's baby without their permission. Who is Jazz involved with? I mean, the baby's actual father. He's also got a dog in this game. Do the baby's real parents know your wife wants you to do this? This is all very odd. The fact that the wife came home out of the blue to demand a test means something or someone happened to make her ask for this. Someone put it in her mind that he screwed her friend and knocked her up. $5 on this friend. I don't understand why someone would do this. Can you walk me through the logic of this? Not being sarcastic or anything, I'm just genuinely curious. Maybe Jazz was jealous, or she doesn't like OP's marriage, so she mentioned this as a way to end it, because let's be honest, there's no coming back from this. Alternatively, Jazz may have made a passing comment that OP was handsome and wife got herself paranoid and jealous, and this thought sprouted. Another theory could be that another friend who doesn't like wife may have planted it, because it's two birds, one stone situation. It'll ruin the marriage, but also wife's friendship with Jazz, and possibly the friend group if there is one. Since wife is suspecting both of having an affair, what kind of person is Jazz going to see when her bestie points fingers, accusing her newborn of being her BFF's husband? All theories, and only OP's wife knows the truth. But these are some possibilities that explain the comment you commented on. I once was friends with a couple. During a fight, the guy said he had sex with me just to piss her off. I've never come anywhere near romance with this guy. It ruined our friendship, and they were a volatile couple to begin with. That's crazy. It's crazy when people make stuff up out of the blue. I feel like I've told you this story before, but someone in college, while I was dating my ex-boyfriend, a guy I was actually really close with. I thought we were really close. I thought we were really good friends, and I thought that's all we were. And I didn't think that he felt any different, and I definitely didn't feel any different. I wasn't attracted to him whatsoever, but all of a sudden, this rumor gets spread around by one of his best friends, that we had sex, and we never even did anything of the sort. The only thing I'd ever done is hug the kid, and never for too long, or never lingering, never anything more than a friendly, little friendly hug. So when I heard that, it was crazy, and my boyfriend came to me super upset saying he told me this, and it was literally one of his best friends that told him this. And he was like, yeah, this guy that I was friends with, how do I say this? My ex was with this guy that the guy I was friends with was friends with. His best friend, okay? They were together one day, and his best friend was saying, yeah, so-and-so told me this, straight from the horse's mouth. So I definitely believe that he started this rumor himself. And I never, what was I going to say? Fuck, I was going to say something. First of all, didn't do that. Oh, I confronted him, and I texted him and I said, did you make this rumor up? Like, people are telling me this is what you're saying. And he said, no, I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Never admitted it to me to this day. I'm currently been blocked for years, though, because once he started dating this one girl, he completely cut me off, and I think his girlfriend blocked me, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, his girlfriend blocked me, and then ever since then, I had been blocked. Even if I would see him sometimes and we would be friendly, I was still blocked. But I'm pretty sure they're married now, so. And she did that to a bunch of my friends that he was friends with, that some of them were kind of more than friends with him, but I literally was only friends with this guy. I don't know if he took our hangouts, because we did hang out alone a couple times, but nothing flirty. I feel like I never flirted with this guy, and he seriously made this up out of thin air, and I just feel like I didn't lead him on at all. I mean, I don't know how he interprets things, but I guess it could be, I don't know. It's just annoying because I always have just wanted to be friends with guys, and it always happens to be that they turn it into this whole situation. And it's so annoying because I'm like, okay, you've just been like trying to hook up with me, and I just actually want to be friends. I'm not interested in you at all. And I would even tell them that. Like, I'm not interested in you. I really just want to be friends. Like, I don't understand. And sometimes it's obviously I have friendships with guys that aren't like that, but it's very how do you say? ¿Cómo se dice? It's very rare. I have a best friend from like 8th grade that's a guy that we were never anything but friends. And we're still really good friends, but obviously don't see him that much. But I just thought it was crazy that this guy would just make that up out of thin air and then deny it, never admit it. And even after years, I still would ask people that he was friends with. I would be like, did so-and-so tell you this? And they'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? He went around telling people that. I never, ever even kissed the man. I never even kissed him on the cheek, let alone. So that is really annoying because when people make shit up like that, some people are going to believe you and some people are just going to believe the rumor, especially because it's not like I could get on a public platform and be like, hey guys, we actually never had sex. He made that up. And then even if I did get on a podium and announce that to the world, there still would be some people that believed that we hooked up. So I'm assuming that's probably why his now wife hates me and hated me ever since they started dating. But girl, if you're watching this, just kidding, she's definitely not watching this, but if she thinks that we actually hooked up and he maybe admitted that to her, that's crazy because we literally didn't. It's actually crazy to me. But anyways, let's move on to the next story. I accidentally had my baby at my friend's house and now she's pissed. How do I solve this? I don't even know where to start with this. I'm sorry for bothering y'all with it. English is not my native language, by the way, so I'm sorry if this is riddled with mistakes. I'll also use fake names to make it a bit easier to follow. I have a close friend group consisting of 7 women, including myself. We're all around the same age, 26 to 32 years old. Some of us have known each other since we were just kids, so some of us are closer than others. We do girls' night about every month, but I decided to keep it chill and do a movie night at Ella's house, seeing as myself and Sarah are pregnant. I was at 36 weeks at the time. I had been having some discomfort for days, but nothing I wasn't told was completely normal. When things suddenly got kicked up a big-ass notch, I don't know if that's how you say it, things got a bit hazy from there, but I went from discomfort to active labor in a short time. I didn't feel comfortable moving at that point, so someone called our version of 911. With the help of the EMT and my child, with the help of the EMT, my child, with impeccable timing and flair for the dramatic, was born on her sofa. The girls were amazing, supportive, but when the EMTs came, they did ask most of them to leave, and I was grateful they did, as it was very overwhelming. I only asked Grace to stay, who I've known since we were tiny humans, and at that point, I had already crushed her hand. Her words. She also is a nurse. The weeks after have been a whirlwind. Despite everything, baby and I are fine. My partner was initially upset she missed her birth, but moved on quickly as she fell in love with our baby. The thing is that Ella has been cold towards me ever since. She's the only one who hasn't come by, and when I apologized and thanked her, she sent me a bill for the sofa, which I don't mind paying at all, but it still felt kind of harsh. Sarah and some of the others said that she was upset that I and the EMT sent her outside. I love those girls, but I already was in a panic, and having all of them there was just too much. Ella seemed really hurt, though. Sarah and Grace mentioned she at first didn't want to leave. I don't remember this, as it's her house. That she wanted to be there when the baby was born. Apparently, Sarah's the one who told her it's not about her now and got her out. She did ask months before to be there as well, but we had already decided only my partner and I were going to be there. I don't really know how to fix this. I feel guilty. My wife says I shouldn't. How do I go about all this? She barely wants to speak to me. She's been distant towards the girls as well. Edit, I'm feeling incredibly overwhelmed by all the replies, so I'm going to take a step away from this. I do appreciate all of you taking your time, whether kind or not so much. This situation has been insane for us, but also for her, and I hadn't properly thought of that, which is very much on me. I'm going to try and reach out again, pay her back everything as I should, and try and resolve this somehow. I care about her. I want to make this better. I don't think it's about her sofa, but there's only one way to find out. I'm sorry for my comment in the beginning about my English. I'm genuinely not a native English speaker. A lot of you are accusing me of this being fake because of the situation, which I can't blame you for. I wouldn't have believed it if it hadn't happened to me, and because of the way I speak. My wife says to take it as a compliment about my English, but I feel incredibly guilty. I'm sorry to anyone I have offended. I'm also sorry about the joking way I spoke about it. Definitely did not mean to make light of a situation. Thanks to everyone. Good luck. Baby, wife, and I thank you for your work. Obviously, I would probably already be offering to pay for the couch because I would feel so bad. But you could let the dust settle a little bit before sending over a bill. I do think it's a little crazy that a grown woman wouldn't just speak to her about this when obviously she just had a baby. Things are crazy. You think that she's going to be thinking about that? No, she's just thinking about her baby right now. And I honestly don't blame her for that. She just had a baby, and not only just had a baby, but had a baby on your couch, girl. That was a crazy experience, and now she's settling in with her baby and with her partner. And I feel like no one's really in the wrong. I just think that there needs to be more communication between the two of them, and I think that it will be fine in the end. They'll end up making up and being okay again, but there definitely needs to be some type of talk because they're grown adults, 26 to 32 years old. I don't know how old the girl is that is mad, but I assume if I'm 26 and I think that you can have a conversation with someone. You can bring up, hey, instead of just sending a bill for the couch, you could be like, hey, I know a lot's going on right now. Congratulations on your baby. I would love to come by and see her at some point, but I would also love to talk sometime whenever you're ready. There we go. Have a conversation. Some of the top comments. I had an unplanned home birth. A friend suggested I call the insurance company. It turns out accidental damage included damage from amniotic fluid, and I got a new sofa. Hot tip right here. Thanks. Who would have thought? Bad advice, unfortunately. Most home insurance companies would absolutely love for you to make a claim over something relatively cheap so they can raise your rates at the next renewal. Very rarely is it worth it. The OP isn't from the U.S., it seems, so insurance might work differently where she lives. Inquiring about it couldn't hurt in any case. You mean it works like insurance, not a fucking money drain? That is crazy. Do you have working healthcare too? Super jealous. LOL, we do. I'm living in one of those pesky, freedomless socialist countries where you don't go bankrupt over having health issues. Universal healthcare is such a complicated and difficult system to implement that only 32 out of 33 developed countries have managed it. I wish enough Americans would pull their heads out of their asses and realize that socialized medicine isn't the evil thing we were always told it was. It would be really nice to not have to decide every time my kids are sick if they're sick enough to warrant a $100 doctor visit. I had a middle of the night ear infection once that was so bad I went to the ER, which cost me $800. It's ridiculous. Jesus. Crazy. Okay, let's read this comment because it seems like it might have a good view on this. Honestly, there are two separate issues. One is the big miss from you and your partner on the sofa. Now that you've given birth, you know how messy it is. It's like a freaking crime scene. No one wants to sit on a couch where someone gives birth. A couch is an expensive and important piece of furniture. That your partner didn't step in and ask to immediately pay for a replacement and offer to get cleaners for the room is baffling. And if you have time to post this on Reddit and you haven't offered a replacement and payment to Ella yet, that's really bad manners and thoughtless. Her sending you the couch bill as a response is curt, but your apology should have included an offer to pay, so that's a huge miss. The other issue is her not being in the room. That is a her issue and has nothing to do with you. It's common sense that when a medical emergency is happening, even if it's your own room, you can step out and give privacy and dignity and space to the patient and medical professionals. You don't owe her a seat at your birth, and your ask was absolutely valid. If she's miffed about that, it's on her and she needs to get over it. You needn't feel guilty about this at all. So make the payment for the sofa, apologize for not offering immediately, and move on. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I would have offered to pay for the sofa immediately because I can only assume that's disgusting. I mean, not disgusting. Birth is not disgusting, but the things that come out of you when you give birth is disgusting. And no one wants to be sitting on a couch that is filled with amniotic fluids and what is that? There's like a white thing that is on the baby after birth, and I forget what it's called, but it's good for the baby, their skin and stuff, and I forget what it's called, but that being all over the couch as well. I only know that because I used to run a social media for a girl that was what is it called? Guys, I forget all my words when I do this show. I forget them all. She was a midwife and she did home births. That's the only reason I know. And I had to look at a lot of coochies and a lot of heads coming out of coochies and a lot of videos of births. Very graphic births. I mean, it was cool, but definitely made me more scared to give birth because I'm nervous about the pain. But I will not be having a home birth. When I was like running that social media account, I definitely was kind of feeling empowered, and there's a lot of stuff wrong with hospital births, but there's also a chance that the midwives doing a home birth can be very dangerous, especially if it's your first birth. And whenever there's actually a disconnection between the two of the midwives and the doctors at the hospital, if something goes wrong while the midwife is doing the birth and she suggests that she doesn't suggest, she sends you to the hospital because you need to finish giving birth there because it's just too dangerous at that point. The doctors there will often look down upon it. So there's programs out there to make it a smoother transition and stuff. But basically, I don't really know what exactly happens, but it's hard to get into the hospital and get good care. I don't know. But that's just what I learned from talking to this girl. That's been a midwife for like 30 years. She's a really cool, hippie girl, but I definitely felt empowered, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'll do a home birth. It looks so cool, a water birth in a tub or something. But if you can't shoot me up with some medicine, because it'd be fun to do a home birth in a water tub, but not a natural one. I don't want to be natural. I don't. I want medicine and something to make me not feel the pain because I'm so fucking scared of that pain. I already had to deal with an anal fissure, and I can only imagine that giving birth to a child is 100 times worse. And not only that, but my anal fissure is going to reopen when I give birth, and that's going to be whole nother problem in of itself, and that is going to actually suck. I've actually really become even more scared because of the fact that I had an anal fissure, and this is definitely TMI, but it opens back up sometimes, and it hurts so bad. But when it was at its worst, when I first got it, it lasted a good 6 months, and I would have to sit in the bathtub and do a sitz bath every day for weeks to make it go away. And I had to take stool softeners, I had to take a bunch of fiber. Girl, if I didn't do all that, it felt like glass was coming out of my ass. And even when I did, it still felt like glass was coming out of my ass. It was the worst pain ever. I have had a hemorrhoid before, and I think it was worse than a hemorrhoid. I guess it just depends on how bad your hemorrhoid is, but oof, It was so bad. I can't even explain to you the pain. Okay, so yeah, that's my anal fissure story, and I'm sorry if that grossed you out, but that's just my life, and I am so sorry. Okay, well, on that note, we're gonna end it there. So glad that was such a good story that I would tell. I'm so sorry if you get queasy at those things. I'm so sorry because that was probably a little bit too much information, but that's what we do over here. So I am so sorry. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and obviously, if you want, you can join the subreddit down below. It's linked in the description. Also, so many other things linked in the description to Spotify if you want to listen on Spotify instead of YouTube. Merch, which isn't a lot to choose from right now, but I'm trying to work on it. And some other things are linked down there. I don't really know what, my social media and stuff. I don't know. But also, if you could, because I love you so much, press the subscribe button, like the video, and definitely. Sorry guys, the camera died before I could finish my sentiment, but I love you, and comment what you think about these stories. Okay, goodbye. Love you.